I'm glad you can join me. The sun is out, cloudy, but the rain has stopped. The sun is out, the lighting is pretty good, and to prevent me from snowballing into thousands of avenues about the idea, I wrote some ideas of what I wanted to talk about, and so we're going to get into some really good stuff. So if you're following and you're joining in on this stuff, we're going to get to some really great stuff that's going to help us upgrade our logic and reasoning and the way we can apply our logic and reasoning and stuff like that, right? So this one right here I want to do there are no such things as big things, okay? I'll tell you what my notes are. It's not that this is the first time that I'm thinking these things, right? But that's my notes. Everything is made up of many parts, many smaller and small things. All big things are really just a bunch of small things. That's my notes. Somehow I have to stretch that into 10 minutes worth of, no, just kidding. There are no quotas, there are no, in fact, I'm always trying to be conscious of keeping it down, the video length down or whatever. There are no such thing as big things. So, and yeah, in a way, I've thought about these things a lot, and over time, it's part of a broader idea of understanding everything and perceptions and stuff like that. But it certainly is also inspired by the recent vlogs that we've been doing and the recent conversations that I've been having with a lot of my friends. And so yeah, so in a way, when we are thinking about these incredible sizes and these incredible scales and sizes of things and stuff like that, and we say, wow, well, that's massive, this thing is massive, regardless of whether maybe traditionally we might say this thing is massive compared to me, whatever, forget even the compared, this thing is massive. And then and then I started thinking, yeah, interesting, right? Because I understand large too, but then I started saying it's a large thing. Well, yeah, but it's a large things, plural. It's a large thing that's made up of a lot of smaller things. And that's when I started realizing, not for the first time, but I started realizing recently now how I can look at it and say, well, there's really no such thing as a big thing. Am I right? Think about it, right? There's no such thing as a big thing. There are no big things. Everything is just a collection of a whole bunch of smaller things. Pretty interesting concept, pretty amazing. So when we look out in the scale of things, and when we look out there and we see all these massive sizes and stuff like that, that's really what we're really looking at, is a massive amount of a small thing that's formed and created a big thing. And what I contemplate a lot when it comes to that, I should have made the point right there, and the video can stop right now. So let's see if we can get some extra cool stuff happening from thinking and pondering and considering from that. What I consider a lot is how at every scale, every scale there is an expression of a constant. There's an expression of sort of like a blueprint and stuff. So I think. I feel, and I've benefited a lot, understanding the body in these kinds of terms can really explain a lot. Understanding the body can explain a lot about existence, can explain a lot about the universe. Rather than thinking that the universe is reserved a lot more for like a particle physics type of thing. It's not necessarily true at all. And I mean, you're going to find a lot of people who can use consciousness, perception, but also can use love to explain the universe and existence. But I think the body is a great example of that. And the body has heaps of specific parts and heaps of specific things forming functions and stuff like that. So we can look at the body and we can see that the body is an example of a reality that we're living in. The body is an example of a system that we're living in. So the same things that we find in the body, we find in our reality, we find in our system. I'm definitely no stranger to this line of thinking. I'm not just making this up on the fly either. What I look at is I see all these blood cells. I see all these different types of cells in the body and stuff. And I think that all those cells have different type of roles and stuff and purposes. And then when you look at society, when you look at our reality, there's all these different kind of roles. There's all these kind of jobs that we can do, all these kind of responsibilities, and some recreational and some vital services that we perform that are needed and stuff like that. So I often talk with others and conversate and I'll say, based on what I just said, I'll say, so based on what I just said, who do you think in reality, in our regular daily lives, who do you think are the red blood cells? What kind of people are the red blood cells peoples? I mean, you want me to chime in on the details? I've kind of always thought red blood cells, blue collar, working man, working class. See if you can follow, right? Who are the white blood cells? Which ones do you think are the white blood cells? The helpers, right? The medical profession, first responders, and paramedics, nurses, medical technicians, doctors, the white blood cells. But doctors could go, but who are the brain cells and stuff? And then also those cells come together to help a larger network that forms like an organ or something like that. So some cells within the organs are very specialized, but others you'll find through many different organs and stuff, tissues, muscle tissues, the lining and things like that as well. So when cells come together, right, they form organs and things like that. So what kind of organs do we have in society and stuff, like public transportation and school? Can we think of these things as organs, as specialized systems that perform a specific function or have a relative range of functions coming out of them? Obviously, like a school for education, for learning, for increasing a skill in a certain area and stuff like that. Yeah, so where were we? There are no such thing as big things. So when we look out and we see the scale of things and how massive, do you know that you can fit 200 Earths in the sun? Just to throw out a number or something like that. And the idea or whatever, yeah, it's awe-striking and massive, but at the same time, we understand that, well, yeah, but the sun isn't one complete object, one solid, one thing. It's not one massive cell thing. It's not one massive particle. It would be different if we looked out somewhere, or we could point somewhere and we could say, well, the same way we have quarks, the same way we have parts, subatomic parts, right? The protons, electrons, things like that. Same way we have that. Well, here is an incredible size nucleus. Here, or proton. Here is an incredibly large electron, but that's not true. There are no and when you point our microscopes, or when we point our telescopes and we observe it, we measure it or whatever, it's not like there's any parts to it. It's just one huge, there is no such thing. Not only is there no such thing, it's just, that's not how the physical world and matter and relationships and structures work. Stabilizations of interactions and stuff, and distinctions of it, regardless of whether you're looking a little bit more in the illusionary pathway, or you are okay with accepting a definitive physical property to things and stuff like that. Either way, the structure and stuff. Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention. Right. So, but either way, the structure and stuff like that, they're all made up of these a lot smaller parts and stuff like that. So there really is no such thing as a very large thing. There's just there's such a thing as a very large amount of a small thing, or a whole bunch of small things making a large, amount of themselves, whatever. But